Okay. I see. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we have a quorum. Okay. I was busy emailing and everything today. I started the recording. It is 6:37. We are starting the meeting with the quorum present, consisting of myself, Pat Bates, Greg Stewart, Aaron Orr, Dorit Katz, Dan Cooper, Harry Brady. I just have a couple little announcements before we get going. Let me see where I put them and we can look at them more later. Let's see here. There's a virtual update on the Sepulveda Basin Vision Plan, October 16th. And I'll have this available so you can note that later, or I will also, I'm planning for the minutes of this meeting to use the Zoom AI. I will edit it tomorrow morning. Sometimes it screws things up. But I'll edit it tomorrow, have it out, and I'll have the links to anything that I'm announcing, which is that. We have a, I think we'll confirm, but I think we've got a Lake Balboa community cleanup at Bull Creek this Saturday. And that's why I wanted to get into our Audubon bunker to borrow the grabbers. So we'll have, we can look at that later. Hold on. And I welcome our guests here. Why don't we introduce ourselves? So let's do guests.
Sure.
Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Manavar. I just started at LA28 as a director of community relations about 5 months ago. And I have two colleagues who are, I believe, partnering right now who will also be here.
Excellent.
Hi everyone, J.C. Director of Community Engagement under Mayor Karen Bass. Thank you for being here.
What's your name?
Michelle.
Sorry. Larry Frank, Senior Advisor to Mayor Bass, and I've been working on Sepulveda Basin for the last couple of months.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Julia. I'm an intern with the Mayor's Office in here.
Wonderful. And then Jack
Jack, or some member of the Bureau's office.
and Catherine. Okay, and
I'm Becky Dunn, I'm sustainability.
hi Becky.
Sorry for being late.
Okay,
Thanks for coming on.
let me see who I have with us virtually. Okay. Okay. Committee member Melanie Winter, representing the River Project, has notified the chair that she is just caused contagious illness and physical accommodation need to participate remotely in this evening's meeting. So first, I make a motion to add an item to this agenda requesting the committee consider the request of Melanie Winter to participate remotely under Assembly Bill 2449. So I make that motion. Greg seconds. We should do a roll call. Aaron?
Aye.
Dan, Greg, Pat, I, Terry. Aye. Then I make a motion the motion passes unanimously. I make a motion to approve the request of Melanie Winter to participate remotely as a member of the committee. Greg seconds. Okay. Aaron, agree?
Yeah.
Aye.
Dan, Greg, yeah, yes. So the meeting is called to order and find the agenda here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 29th meeting.
Second?
Okay. Any objection? And seeing none for Melanie, they are approved. Do we have public comment on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction? Going? I see no hands raised. Okay. So I'd like to introduce Becky and Michael from LA 28 to do your presentation. And, so you should be able to,
Share.
let's see,
Oh, I got kicked off the Zoom. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, there we go.
can you share?
You were doing that. Yes, I can.
Okay.
A little slow. How's that? Can everybody see that? Or it's a little slow. It's gonna go full screen right now.
Miriam, can you see that?
I can see it. I just hope it goes full screen. It'll be easier to read.
Yeah, it's trying right now. Click the button. Just give it another few seconds. There we go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all in person. I hope that I'm gonna stick around as long as I can. Would love to connect with you all separately, and your respective organizations after this meeting. I do want to share just a little bit about myself before we dive into the presentation. I'm born and raised here in the San Fernando Valley. I grew up in Sun Valley. I went to middle school and high school just down the street at Mulholland and Birmingham. Had ridden my bike all around this area as a child, which is probably the last time that I rode a bicycle. And I just started at LA 28 about 5 months or so ago. I'm the director of community relations. We just got our kind of like 3-year community relations plan approved just yesterday. And so we will be staffing up to have the capacity to really intentionally engage with with all of the communities that will be impacted by the games. And so there's hopefully going to be a lot more of me that will start onboarding early next year. And so we're going to share just some general information about the games, and then Becky and I will tag team some information around our impact and sustainability plan, which was submitted to LA City Council just a couple of months or so ago. That is publicly available on our websites. If you have trouble finding it, feel free to reach out, and we're happy to share a link to that. So it's a 50-page document or something.
Long,
It's long, yeah. And so that will go into more detail around what our goals are, and but this will share some highlights and answer any questions for some. And so we'll get started, and let me make sure I have this. Okay. Let's see how long this takes. So just at a very high level, LA 28, we are a private nonprofit organization. We have a fully volunteer board of directors, and our revenue comes entirely from sponsorships and from ticket sales. Licensing agreements, hospitality agreements, all of that. There's no taxpayer funding that goes to actually putting the games on. We privately raise all of those funds and then spend all of those funds to actually operate those games. Any surplus, which we really hope for and need, will part of which will likely go to supporting some of those impact and legacy goals that we have. Just a little bit of history about the games. So as you may be aware, this is the 3rd time that Los Angeles is actually hosting the Olympics, and the 1st time that Los Angeles is hosting the Paralympic Games. Los Angeles is because it's our third time, we kind of join a unique class of global cities who have also hosted the games. Does anyone, so there's there's a question for the audience, is there's two other cities that have hosted the games 3 times. Can anyone try to guess what those two cities are? Who those two cities are?
Yours,
Paris is one of them, Paris is one of them.
Athens?
Athens is a good guess, good guess. It's close to Paris. You can go get on there on a high-speed train that goes.
Not Berlin, oh, London?
London, yeah, London. So Los Angeles is a kind of a special class of worldwide cities. This is, well, LA's first time doing it. This is the first time it's in the US since the Atlanta Games in '96. So that's just what I shared. And this is a video. Let me see if I can actually, if this will actually play. Let me see this. You know what? I'm gonna skip it. This is a video about the branding, the actual A. If you've noticed, the A in the LA 28 is always different. We change it every couple of months or so to kind of reflect the diversity of Los Angeles. And so I'm happy that this video is available on our websites and on YouTube. And so interesting. Say that again?
All the different names.
Yeah. Let's see this. Can do this without, okay, 1 second, it's just a little slow. Okay, let me do this really quickly. 1 second, everybody.
You might need to reshare with share audio, share audio.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this, just the video's a little, I don't know why I went back to the slide. There, okay. So this is, oh, I gotta share. Okay, we're back. So this is the Sepulveda Games. It's not strictly tied to just Los Angeles. We're pretty all over Los Angeles County, including the cities of Long Beach, Carson, Pasadena, Pomona, and go as far south as Trestles, which is near San Clemente, just down south, and then as far across the country as Oklahoma City. This slide, although you can't really see the actual text on this slide, it gives you a good picture of the scope of the games, where they're happening. So I think it's a really exciting time to show the just how great Southern California is. But it also kind of serves as a reminder that for me, kind of a daunting challenge of how do we effectively engage with all of the different cities. Our really is to get people excited about games while also understanding and getting people ready for some of those kind of changes that may occur during the actual games time. We have some very ambitious plans around transportation, making sure that the games are safe for everyone involved while mitigating any potential impacts of those communities where the games are actually happening. I won't get into detail into some of those specific details. I'm happy to connect with you separately to share about those. But also know that this is a good time for me to emphasize this, is that while we are under 3 years away from the games, now is the time for us to connect and collaborate and partner hear your feedback and your concerns and your suggestions so that we can make these games that are as beneficial and exciting for everybody. And so still plenty of time for us to work together. And then, of course, stop me at any time if there's any questions on any others, on any specific slide. We're going to go into some of the sports that are happening. This is the first time that baseball, softball, flag football, lacrosse, squash, and cricket are now games, which is pretty exciting. Cricket will actually be hosted at Universal Studios, which is not in the Basin, but still in the Valley. The dates of the games, if in case you don't have them or don't remember, opening ceremony. The opening ceremony is actually the first time that's going to happen. It's going to happen in 2 locations that include this, the LA Memorial Coliseum and the stadium in Inglewood, which you may recognize as SoFi Stadium, but we're calling it the stadium in Inglewood for the time being. And then Paralympic ceremony on August 15th. This is the schedule of games happening in Sepulveda Basin. I do need to emphasize that this is also subject to change. And so as much as possible, I really, really hope that people don't send pictures of the surrounds. This is strictly confidential, as you'll see that in notes. And so please just know that there's a lot of things that are in flux, plans change, nothing is solidified. And so we really don't want something like this getting around and people worrying about it for whatever reasons. And so emphasizing that if you have any questions or suggestions or feedback, please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to work together. But this is what it looks like. Those are the games that are happening in the Basin. BMX freestyle, skateboarding, which is really exciting, the modern pentathlon, 3-on-3 basketball, and more BMX racing. You can see there as well that most of the games will actually, the schedule of the games for the Basin are happening between July 15th and July 29th. There's a couple of days off in between, but generally the Basin is going to have most of the games done. The blues, it's probably what you want to focus on. Those are heavy schedule, those are heavy game days, and so tentatively things are likely to essentially wrap up by the 21st.
What's the difference between BMX freestyle and?
It's a great question. Yeah. Should a lot of stuff. Yeah. Should I'll find out now. Yeah. I think it's kind of like the actual chorus and do the tricks in the air and stuff. Yeah. You get a little chorus like that. You get a chorus and then I shouldn't say little, but you get a chorus and then you do tricks in the air and you get points for those tricks. That's what I'm picturing.
One quick question,
Sure.
doesn't the modern pentathlon have a swimming?
It does. It's
It could be in Lake Balboa, or
No, I don't think so. It's gonna be swimming. There's I think some shooting that's part of it. I forgot the other 5.
there's cross-country race.
I wrote it down. Let's see here. I wrote it down. So the pentathlon is fencing, swimming, horse riding, pistol shooting, and running. Yeah.
But modern doesn't have horse riding, does it?
As of this next games period, they'll no longer be doing the equestrian portion.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's like a kind of like
Okay.
steeplechase type race. Okay.
Should know that. But yeah, this is kind of the schedule that we're tentatively looking at. This kind of gives you a picture of where we're thinking of having the games occur. I'm just gonna pause right here. And again, and I also want to emphasize Bull Creek on the west, and BMX racing kind of 200 meters away or so from the actual group.
So back to the question about the modern banana,
Yeah.
what are they swimming?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. Not sure.
So like a temporary swimming pool?
I think I will, I'll
Pointers there if you
Oh.
want to use it.
Which one do
where it says pointer.
I, oh, that makes sense.
So it looks like there's gonna be some kind of facility at the base of the golf course there, but I'm just trying to imagine.
Oh, there we go. That's true.
That's the point of it.
Yeah.
Look, it's old.
There's a pool at Sherman Oaks Park. which is,
Yeah, we'll-
15 minutes away from-
We'll find out where,
Okay.
where they're thinking about doing
As
that.
long as you're not excavating some film.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Question I have, so given the events and the span of time and the volume, are you all projecting like what the audience attendance is gonna be there and impact on traffic and just how much foot traffic's in there?
Yeah, I know that we have those projections and I'm happy to connect with you separately about them.
Okay.
Cause I didn't have them off the top of my head, but also just kind of emphasizing that, going back to this slide. There will be, the events, the games themselves will be staggered throughout the day, and so, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised with some of those things.
I have a question for Melanie.
Oh, yes.
Melanie, I think you can look to- May need to.
Thank you, sorry. Yeah, I was just, can you go to the next one again really quickly?
Yes.
So the complex 3 and 2, will that be shutting down Woodley Golf Course for the duration? I mean, will the
I'd
game, will
have
the
to check
game
on
be
that.
shutting down the golf course for the duration? It looks like the putting greens will be built upon. And then you're using for complex 1, you're using the parking lot. So I guess my questions are, is that going to shut down just the putting green? Or are you people are gonna be golfing while the Olympics are going on? Are you shutting down with the golf course for the duration of the games? And then you're closing sorry, don't have a lot of oxygen today. You're closing the parking lot. So are you planning on parking people throughout the basin as well, or will the basin be closed for parking?
Yeah, I can check on, I can check on those and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm sure our committee members will have a lot of questions. The basin is complex and there are a lot of different stakeholders, different government agencies, a decent number are present at this meeting, so it's a great starting point for engaging. We're happy to help you think about other groups, their talents, et cetera.
Yeah.
For this group in particular, I think we gave you a little background, but just to kind of read. The scope of this group is really focused on kind of the habitat areas for basins. So most of the questions are likely to be around habitat impacts. For example, we've seen the renderings of the part north of Balboa Lake, and it wasn't 100% clear whether there would be tree impacts or tree removal. I know that LA 28 put out an RFP for biodiversity consultants. So, as you're giving your presentation, if you have any information on those types of pieces of it, I think those are gonna be where a lot of the questions may come. And I know that it's early in the planning, you've got an energy council and then water council that I'm part of, and all these different pieces that are gonna be doing a lot of the logistics and operations. But to the extent that you've done any thinking, I would say this is the venue of all the venues of the Olympics that is sort of a biodiversity hotspot for the city, recognized as such. Thankfully, these venues are not next to the most sensitive habitat, but they are still in habitat areas and adjacent to, and there will be, I'm sure, traffic impacts and people throughout the basin. So I think that's where a lot of the questions from this committee will come to. And so, anything you can share along the way of how you're thinking about doing the games in such a kind of sensitive area by comparison.
Yeah.
That needs to be helpful.
Yeah, definitely, and I appreciate that, and I one of your points was, this is a good start. And so, like, if you have any feedback, again, suggestions, anything that we should be cautious of or aware of, like, definitely, please don't hesitate to share. Yeah.
And the one thing
I think sharing the specifics, the very specific plans for complex 4, it's going to be very, very important to this committee.
Sure.
Yeah, and actually that might be one question which you may or may not have an answer to yet, but at what stage within the next couple of years might there be more detailed layouts of the venues, like the structure of the venues and how they fit exactly?
Yeah, we'll check on that.
I think we'll be looking at the construction timelines as well. I know this is characterized as temporary construction, but that doesn't mean it's not a lot of construction. So timelines and impacts for closures and redirections of traffic and people's use of the site as well, as soon as possible would be helpful as well.
Definitely.
Particularly with the construction as we're, so fortunately, being the summer games, the impacts to our nesting bird populations of the basin will be lessened during the games because of the timing. But if the construction is, really heavy in those months leading up to it, there's a lot of habitat impacts and passive adaptive, real adaptiveness that we track in this area, and a lot going on. So that's gonna be really interesting and challenging to navigate, and this whole committee can be a good resource for you in that we already know where a lot of the sensitive habitat is. And so I know that you'll probably engage professional consultants on like the formal EIR type process if there is one, but just make sure to work with the local experts as well, because this is a very heavily surveyed area with a lot of existing information. And so having an outside biologist come in and walk through, it would be very complemented by working with some of the locals who really invest in that.
That's good feedback, thank you.
One thing I would just throw out there as well, Marie, is the brain interpret my
Yeah.
to your point about this being a kind of a known quantity to some degree, like we are working closely with the Army Corps of Engineers, which has, shared information with us. The consultant that we brought on board to advise on biodiversity services overall, the group called Ruth Villalobos and Associates. They have been very working with the type of reason, Ruth Villalobos and Associates.
Like the name Ruth.
Yes, it's a small woman-owned local firm, but they also have background in the Sepulveda Basin as well. And so I do think we do want to leverage the knowledge that's existing. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here, so I think point taken on wanting to understand the timelines and the specifics and all of that. I think the more that this group can share with us the watch out of we're really concerned about X, the X nesting birds in Y spot. I think that gives us helpful information to take back as well. So I would say, as we're looking at this map and talking today, feel free to flag those items, because that knowledge is really helpful for us to take back.
Yeah, we definitely will. And I see that Hannah's on this Army Corps, so I'm glad to hear you're already working closely with them. There's a lot of different pieces to Army Corps, and the operations and construction folks don't always know what the biologists know. So I would just say, make sure. We unfortunately, one of the top biologists, John Rishi, recently retired from Army Corps, left, but Hannah's very knowledgeable. So if you haven't been acquainted yet, you can meet virtually today, and I can put you together on email and make sure that piece of the Army Corps is also connected.
I think that would be great, yeah. So we can make sure we've got the right contacts in the Army Corps, because you're right, probably not the same.
Yeah, it's a large organization. There can be some really different knowledge in terms of, which pieces they understand about the basin flows. And
Sounds great.
I'll just chime in here since we're talking about me. We are working closely with LA28. Sorry, this is Hannah from the Army Corps. Yeah, we have a committee going. Trevor Snyder, who's the program manager for the Sepulveda Basin, is working closely with LA28. He is our liaison for operations, so we are aware of everything that is happening. We are working on environmental documents. As soon as those things get out there, we will let you know. I'm not sure exactly which path we are going to take in terms of, if we're going to do an EA or just a categorical exclusion. The NEPA procedures have recently changed for the federal government, so we have a little bit more leeway on what we can do. But yeah, just want to make sure everybody here is aware that Army Corps is aware. We are working with LA28. And yeah, just wanted to make sure everybody's clear about that.
are you comfortable with me connecting you directly to Becky as the sustainability lead, just so you guys are in touch as well as the operations team? Or is there more of a hierarchy and you have to let everything go through Trevor? And it's okay if there is, I just wanna make sure to do it the right way.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing. Can you repeat your question?
Do I need to be closer or just be louder? I was just asking if a direct introduction of you as the person who works most closely with our committee to Becky, who leads sustainability there, would be all right with you and helpful.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I
Okay,
am part of. Yeah, that works. I can be the liaison.
Okay, wonderful, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
So that transitions us into a little bit about our impact and sustainability plan. It's really broken down into two pieces, or maybe I should say 4 pieces, and I'll speak to the first 3 pieces, and I'll speak to the first 2 really quickly, and then hand it off to Becky, who will focus on the last piece, healthy environments. So the first is economic empowerment. And these slides are a little, still a little bit of a lag, but the goal here is to drive shared economic development across the region. We have, the games do present a pretty special opportunity for the region. We estimate that about 5 million people will travel to Southern California for these games. Our goal is, this is a revenue generating thing, and so our goal is to sell as many tickets as possible, and so we estimate that that's going to be around 10 to 15 million, hopefully. That would be really good for the local economy, especially small businesses, and so I encourage, if you or you know anyone else who has a small business or any business and is interested in contracting with LA28, visit our website. There's a supplier portal there. We also release a lot of contract opportunities on the RAMP website, which is managed by the city of LA. And we're also hiring pretty incredibly. I was employee number 150 at LA28, and now I think we're about to hit 500 full-time employees. It's estimated that we need about 4,000 to 5,000 employees in order during games time to effectively deliver on it, and so lots of good opportunities there. And so this is still a little slow. So creating business pathways. We want to get local business owners prepared. We do want to provide a lot of significant economic empowerment for small businesses and do that equitably. And so how do we ensure that we are uplifting underrepresented local businesses, creating pathways for youth and those who may be struggling to find employment, especially for teens, young adults, and transitional workers, and then promoting hiring. How do we ensure that our hiring is reflective of Los Angeles as well? Slide. I'm trying to talk about it before it loads. We do have a pretty intentional career pathways program, which is an initiative for local teens and young adults who are interested in careers in sports and live events. And so I'm happy to connect with folks separately afterwards, but there's a lot of really ambitious work I think that we're doing with the CSU system and now our local community colleges as well. Youth sports. We want to make youth sports as accessible as possible in Southern California. Play LA, I'm going to talk about that just a little bit, is a City of LA program that through the financial support of LA28 has made youth sports a lot more accessible for low-income youth. And so if you sign up at your local Parks and Rec Center for basketball or something like that, a lot of those fees nowadays are waived through that donation by LA28. And so we've already had as you can see, over 1.4 million youth take advantage of that program in just the last couple of years. It is something that we are interested in expanding beyond the city of Los Angeles. But it does make it the largest sports program, now in the country. So this is, it's a pretty cool thing. If you have any youth who are interested in sports, it's a lot cheaper to participate in it for them. And that's just a little bit about what I said. Sports are really important for health. Staying active is very important for health. And then I'll do the slides for you, I think, for moving forward for you.
Sounds great. So I'm gonna talk about our commitment to expanding access to the healthy environment. We have 3 focus areas here. They are radical reuse, resilience, and natural resource stewardship. We want to do those commitment areas today. First, radical reuse. This is all about how do we embed circular economy principles throughout our games plan and maximize the reuse of resources for a temporary event. So circularity is relevant to all organizations, but it's particularly relevant to us because we come up and come down in a matter of a few weeks. And one of the best things we can do is keep the resources we use in circulation. Good news is that, this reuse premise is really built into our games plan. I think it's a big part of why the games came to LA and why the IOC selected our bid. We're lucky we have a ton of existing world-class venues to utilize, even more that have popped up in the last couple of years that are now part of the games plan. That enables us to avoid building any new permanent venues. We'll be the first Olympics to do that. That helps us avoid a lot of the footprint associated with construction, displacement associated with construction. So that's a big, that's been a strong foundation for us in terms of our sustainability program, in terms of that avoided impact. But obviously there's more that we can and want to do here. As you guys know, because, looking around that side, there's no BMX venue currently in the Sepulveda Basin. So we are going to be building a number of temporary venues, fully temporary venues that will come up before the games and come back down, as well as some significant temporary overlays. So think things like the Ellen Memorial Coliseum, hosted track in 1932, was then converted into more of a American football style stadium. And so we actually have to build a temporary track that covers the first couple of row of seats to accommodate World Athletic standards. So we have some significant kind of temporary construction projects as well to adaptively reuse existing venues. Again, reduced impact, but still some construction. So for that temporary infrastructure, we're committing to ensure that at least 90% of those materials are reused or recycled post games. And then we're also looking at kind of what is our games time operational waste. So a lot of that comes down to our food and beverage operations. So how are we ensuring that we're only purchasing reusable, recyclable, or compostable containers? We're allowing and encouraging fans to bring in their own reusable water bottles and offering free hydration stations and venues. So again, finding ways to reduce waste at the source, sourcing our packaging more responsibly, and then having the right systems on the back end to ensure that each waste goes into its appropriate stream, that we're maximizing composting, maximizing recycling, and minimizing the amount that ultimately ends up in landfill. Our next focus area is on resilience, which I'm sure this slide will get you. There it is. This is kind of twofold. The first focus is around how are we minimizing the carbon footprint of the games, and reducing our climate impact there. We also see an opportunity to drive behavior change. I think some people asked about transportation, very hot topic around the games. We will host a transit day. So our primary objective here is how do we get people out of their cars and onto existing or enhanced mass transit to move around between games venues. That's both an environmental imperative, something that can help us reduce our carbon emissions, but also an operational imperative. It just wouldn't work to have everyone drive independent of vehicle, right? And so we will work to deliver that supplemental transit system during the games, and we work very closely with local transit agencies, Metro and others to coordinate on that work. And, or ultimately, the goal is to make transit the most attractive experience getting to and from the venues. It helps that you can't park at the venues, so that makes it already less attractive than, you know, your average Laker game. And so we're looking at the various ways that we can nudge people on transit and reduce the number of cars driving. Stepping back from transit though, we have an overarching commitment to reduce our carbon footprint for game operations and construction by at least 10% relative to Paris 24. Transportation is one way that we'll get there, in addition to getting people onto mass transit. We're also looking at what types of vehicles that we're using. So how do we maximize utilization of zero emission vehicles? We just announced a partnership yesterday that I'm really excited about with Highland Electric, which is a provider of electric school buses. So we're gonna be working with them to have 500 electric school buses in our fleet moving people around during the games, which is both sustainable and like it's pretty cool look, these brand new shiny electric yellow school buses. So again, that's just one of the ways that we're working on reducing the impact of transportation. Energy is another big opportunity area. We'll be sourcing 100% renewable electricity for our venues. And then we'll also be very focused on how do we reduce the embodied carbon in everything that we're buying. And so that plays in a bit to the reuse element for all the temporary infrastructure as well. But again, how are we looking across all of those areas to reduce our carbon emissions? Jumping ahead, and then our last focus area is around natural resource stewardship. This encompasses kind of our general commitment to resource conservation, but also specifically touches on the areas of water and biodiversity. So looking at kind of an enterprise-wide level, we will secure ISO 2012-1 certification, which is the leading global standard for sustainable event management. That was pioneered out of the London 2012 games and has since evolved and grown over time. So that means, you know, we adhere to an ISO audited standard. We have a third party auditor come in and evaluate our systems for sustainability and measurement, and ensure that we're kind of embedding sustainability into our decision making across the organization and measuring progress towards our goals. So that's one kind of enterprise-wide approach that we're taking. We're also looking at procurement as one of our key levers to reduce environmental impact. So we have a responsible sourcing code, and all our RFPs are screened against that sourcing code. Again, to ensure that we're evaluating the sustainability attributes of everything we're buying and making good choices based on what's available in the market. Getting to both water and biodiversity, for water, we will measure and report a comprehensive water footprint for the games, both across kind of the permanent use, think, you know, the water bill of the Inglewood Arena or Intuit Dome, but then also some temporary water systems will set up as well. So we'll track across both those permanent structures and our temporary water systems. LAGWP recently established the Games Water Council, which brings together all of the local water utilities and agencies that have games venues to collaborate on both ensuring water supply for the game, but also there is a sustainability working group that is focused on leveraging the games to drive water conservation and water efficiency at the venues. So that's a focus for us as well. And then turning to biodiversity, you know, I would say we're most focused on this at our temporary venues, given that's where we'll have construction. And so, you know, across these sites, assessing biodiversity and looking at ways that we can inform our venue design and delivery to minimize those impacts. And something we're going to dig in a little bit more specific to the site.
And then, I don't know if you brought a slide on it, but there's a number of folks who are part of this group who are also thinking about how the city might elevate biodiversity leading up to the games, and the idea of maybe having some biodiversity hubs or transit stations throughout the city. And I've been meaning to reach out to you on that and connect you to some folks But, could you speak to resilient by nature and the launching
Yes,
of this
you're
initiative?
seeing
and
my
how
next
that's
slide,
going?
Maria.
I thought, I was hoping to.
I was like, I'm getting us there.
So I was like, maybe it's not there.
No, it's there, it's there.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, what I spoke to so far was kind of focused on sustainable operations, which is one big part of what we're doing. How are we delivering the game with a less footprint? There's also the question of sustainability legacies. What are we leaving behind? What's the long-term impact of the games on sustainability in Los Angeles? We recently announced when we released our impact and sustainability plan in August. We announced this initiative that we've designed focused on sustainability legacy called Resilient by Nature. It's a program focused on investing in a more resilient Los Angeles. And it has a couple of different kind of pillars and tools to drive that work towards resiliency. Everything from grant making to volunteerism to education and engagement campaigns, to create opportunities for different stakeholders to engage in creating legacy of resilience around the games. If we jump ahead, within Resilient by Nature, we identified 3 focus areas that we felt were both deeply relevant to LA and also relevant to the games. So those 3 areas are on screen: wildfire resilience and nature restoration, ocean protection, and cooling solutions. So we are working now to flesh out exactly how we can activate against these areas. One of the immediate projects that we're working on is we are standing up what we're calling our Community Resilience Fund, which will be a grant-making entity focused on supporting local nonprofit projects across these 3 focus areas. So we're aiming to launch that fund in early 2026. And again, the idea was that we wanted to drive investment in projects that contribute to the resilience of Los Angeles and do that through a nature-focused lens. So more to come on this, but it is a focus area that we are building out. And with that, I think I hit the end of my slides.
That's it.
Again, we wanted to anchor you guys and just give you the context of how we're approaching impact and sustainability overall, what the game's footprint looks like, to kind of give that context for questions and discussion around Sepulveda Basin specifically. So, you know, Michael, I don't want to fire up, but happy to kind of get into the nitty-gritty with you guys and hear your questions.
And emphasizing as well, I know some folks couldn't attend today's meeting, but we'll be engaging with you all regularly moving forward, doing presentations at the neighborhood councils here in the area and some other organizations. And if you or anyone else has questions or your respective organizations want to connect separately, we're happy to do that. We took down the questions that you had and we'll go back, we'll look into those and follow up with you afterwards. But that is our, you can check that. Oh, it's not sharing anymore. Oh, you took me up, but feel free to you have my,
I just sent you over to the side there.
and so, feel free to reach out at any point. I'm gonna stick around for a little bit, but also if you have any questions right now, I can try to answer.
Yeah, and we want to get the park rangers on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, she took it off. It was a hit, but yeah. And I'm happy to give you my number as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is really helpful. I think there's been a lot of, discussion, questions raised here, and I know, it's great to meet more of the team, but having worked closely with Becky, as co-chair of the sustainability working group, I can say that their team is, has taken this really seriously and worked with a lot of different experts and different nonprofits to give input into this, which I really appreciated in terms of this impact sustainability plan. So we're glad to have you connect with the committee. And again, I think most of the questions from this specific committee, although there will be many, they're just about operations and access, because we represent so many different nonprofits that do educational programs and, engage with the basin recreationally, et cetera. But given the charge of the committee, there will be a lot of questions on that biodiversity and impact piece. So I think what might be great as a follow-up, once you're in it more with the consultant, would be to actually consider bringing Ruth Viejo, sort of the firm, whoever you end up working with, to the committee to get some input and review, because I'm sure you know, it sounds like they've worked with Army Corps before and they know the property, but it'd be great to have a chance to talk directly with that diversity consultant. I think might be the touch point that would be most meaningful to this committee. But others may have other questions or notes for you now.
I don't see any hands raised.
I say a couple of things, but first of all, I just want to say that people on this community have a lot of respect for it, see, so really, it's great to interact. There are other major stakeholders, you know, also in the Sepulveda Basin, recreation and parks is, you know, the land is lessee of 95% of it, but there is also a number of other parts of the city. But I would just say one thing that's not said yet, but I just wanted to say for any of the people that we represent, is that it's really thrilled to have games from the Olympics instead of development. And so the work that you're doing to try to make this a viable strategy going forward is interest from residents of.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, this is my home as well, so I appreciate it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I know with the 84 games that it almost didn't come to the valley, and our current president of the GVP board, Richard Katz, really pushed to get it into the valley and to carry the torch to the valley, so it's nice to have that legacy continue.
This is pretty nice, so we can stay on all that marathon, run by my hands. I have a question about parking and how that would work, but, so the lots at the venues are not going to, parking's not gonna be allowed.
So it's general spectator parking will not be available at most venues. There may be site-specific reasons that, you know, that there are gonna be specificities to each venue, but as a general rule of thumb, there will not be general spectator parking available.
So are there going to be shuttles between all of the different venues?
So there will be existing and enhanced public transit, and the games mobility executive, which is led by LA28 with Metro, but also involves other local agencies, is engaging on the subject. But yes, we will be bringing in lots of additional buses to Los Angeles during the games.
There's fancy here.
I know that,
Right.
so,
In the basin.
Are you asking more within the basin, between those venues?
yeah, but the other venues will have lot. That's for sure.
Well, I think there's sort of a car free games ultimately, right? It's not to rely on parking, but to really be very transit focused.
Right, what if they sold it at a premium and you have that shuttle between all the venues? People could start in a place and then come to the base. Then they can go to a metro spot, catch that shuttle and get on their venue. So it's like that shuttle can.
We wouldn't have shadows like going from like, we would have shadows going from one place to another place. We wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, I've got, what Melanie asked a question, and then we really need to go to the park rangers.
Sure, yeah.
Thanks. I was just wondering, you know, one of your resilience and ability principles is habitat restoration. And I was wondering if you had been focusing much on the basin for post-game, significant investments in post-game habitat restoration, both to, you know, restore some habitat and biodiversity around the sites where the venues will be, but, you know, we have the whole wildlife area and other things going on here that need significant attention and are great sites for fire resilience, water security, and habitat restoration. I'm wondering if you had folks who were focusing on that in particular as a specific site for post-game investment in sustainability. Thanks. And biodiversity.
Yeah, sure. You're not down to like a geographic level of detail yet, so we are in the process of setting up our fund. The goal is that we will show up, you know, across various areas of LA. So I can't speak to specific sites yet, but that level of detail will probably come in 2026 or 2027. Certainly, once we get things launched, there is going to be a process for identifying sites, and you know that's something I can keep very in the loop on.
Am I correct though in describing it as you as an organization have, it seems like, made an effort to try and focus on projects that the community actually wants by creating a subsidizing grant fund that community orgs like those on this committee, or et cetera, Audubon, or all of us together can then apply for projects more so than LA 28 kind of deciding to go around and do specific things, or will it be both?
That's correct. We've not finalized the program design yet, but the general idea is, yes, we don't wanna have coming in unilaterally saying we take projects A, B, and C. We want to bring it open to kind of community feedback and kind of see what bubbles to the top in terms of proposals.
So maybe, I think at future committee meetings, it'd be great to discuss what we think some of those priorities are and be prepared for what sounds like an early 2026 potentially launching of this fund process.
Yes, I think it's a little early to share details, but it is coming, and when we get to that point in the process, we will be communicating broadly.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that even if you don't choose to focus specifically on biodiversity and habitat restoration, in particular, I think we will be wanting to see some level of, post-construction rehabilitation that is consistent with the purpose of the basin. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you. And provided in advance commitments.
Yeah, let me just quickly, I wonder if we could, borrow from like, the scouts and like camping motto of leaving a place better than you found it. Like, I didn't really see that coming through in the slides, but it's so important to, I think, in the concept of sustainability, to not be extractive, but just kind of like, I don't know if you're open to adding that stuff.
I had the same point, just to my notes, and I sort of wonder, because of the permanent structures, the roll-in setup, take down, so take down, does that mean it's like, here's you saw, thanks for letting us be in the park and we're out, or is it like, will the space be left better than it was with the material roll-in?
What happened to your suggestion? That's why we're here. What happened to your suggestion? That's why we're here. There's some folks out there who wants us to kind of leave no trace for this.
Rosie, from CT6 just came in, you got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I was listening in online, but I logged in now. I have heard that some structures are actually have the capacity to either be permanent or temporary. Is that true? So like the public and community members kind of have an input on which of those structures we would like to actually be permanent or.
I have not heard that. Yeah. But I'm happy to look at if there are things that you or others would like to see, happy to take that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the information was still really preliminary, but just the things that, I guess I didn't hear from that, so. Wanted to get that, but.
And feel free, and if like folks have specific questions about anything, like feel free to connect me with them. I'm happy to check on the specifics.
Okay. Let's see if we can find the park rangers.
I'm gonna sit in the back row.
Yes, okay, you're gonna be right after Rosie. I've got you on my desktop ready to go after Rosie. So I see our Ranger Dale Campo and Ranger Sharp.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. If I start sharing my screen here. Let's see here, entire screen, okay. All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see.
We can see you. Oh, there, let's see here.
Okay, I'm trying to share screen. Are you guys able to, I haven't used Zoom before. Okay, all right. Again, LA City Park Ranger Dio Campo. I'm with my partner, LA City Park Ranger Sharp. For those of you who don't know us, we are 2 out of the 4 rangers assigned to the Valley. And I've been here since 2023 and Sharp has been here since 2024.
Yep.
All of last year, we were working on the Wednesday through Saturday side of the shift. And this year we got switched over to the Sunday through Wednesday. So we start at 10 a.m. and we finish at 8 p.m. And every now and then, with special request and approval from our captain, we can work overnight operations here and there. I think the last one we did, or not the last one, the one before that, we handled some stuff for Sepulveda Basin Sports Complex. But anyway, I'll keep it short. You know, with over 100 parks in the valley, we basically prioritize the two largest, well, two of the big ones out here, Hanson Dam and Sepulveda Basin. But between the two, Sepulveda Basin is more of a priority because the needs and the concerns, the issues we've had are currently much larger than what we're experiencing in Hanson Dam. Since last year, if I could just give a few stats here. Since last year, we started documenting our arrest ever since the Grants Pass versus Johnson ruling by the Supreme Court, which happened end of June of last year. We made just 93 arrests, 45 of which were in Sepulveda Basin, and the last one was just this Sunday. I'll show you this spreadsheet. This is what something I created in January 2023, and it's basically a list of our different violators we've dealt with. You know, just kind of breaking up based on which park. The largest on here is, of course, Sepulveda Basin, and currently there are 199. But out of the 199, we only, I would say, there are, and this is based on this morning, just kind of looking through the sheet. I would say there's about 64 that I know of that are currently active, and I make the assumption I haven't identified everyone. We get new people here and there, but I would say it's about 64. And I know there was a sort of an issue brought up with that earlier, because I think there was a homeless count that took place and it put the number something like over 200, maybe 200 to 300. I was not part of that count, but I was surprised when I heard it, because it's too high. We're there almost every day. Well, every day that we work, and we document basically everyone. I mean, we go so far as to make sure that we can actually verify their identity, meaning that if we got to take them in to get fingerprinted, we'll do it. But at least we have their info. And if you take a look at this list, I mean, you know, we always have their booking photo followed by their let me see here, just randomly pick someone here. So we have their booking photo and the picture we had of them out in the field, and I try to stay up to date on this. Everyone highlighted in blue on the right here has a misdemeanor warrant. Everyone in red has a felony warrant. Everyone in yellow are folks who are still, these are people we've arrested and they're still currently locked up. I think the last time I checked, we have 7 of the arrestees from Sepulveda Basin are still currently in custody. Let's see here. And then in addition to this, I also have a scribble map, which I'm a little reluctant to share this right now, just because it's seriously outdated. We've jammed up a lot of these folks. We've made a lot of arrests, and a lot of these people have shuffled around, and so this is not very accurate right now. I will have to update this soon. And then, so I mentioned that Sharp and I are the rangers from the Sunday through Wednesday side. We have 2 other rangers on the other side, Wednesday through Saturday. That's Ranger Mark Fuentes and Jesse Mock. Mark Fuentes is pretty good with this ArcGIS program, and he took it upon himself to start mapping out confirmed fires. Not just the ones that come out on Pulse Point and all, but these are the ones that actually we've been able to follow up and either verify with LAFD if it's something that occurred outside of our work hours. But even then, we usually try to actually follow up. And does a pretty good job as far as well, collecting all the information we need, suspected source of ignition and all GPS coordinates. And so I know, Patty, you asked I think a couple of weeks ago about the recent fires, and this has been a big concern for the community, and LAPD has brought PD, LAFD, a lot of folks have been bringing this up, and I want to say that we do have some pretty good information that my partner Ranger Sharp was able to acquire. So before I pass it over to her, any questions as far as what I mentioned earlier?
Is this public, these documents, number one, and number two, I thought Rangers weren't armed, so I don't know how are they making arrests, or are you armed now?
That's correct. So we are unarmed, and we have a lot of Rangers that think we're being a little careless, and I understand. I mean, we're just out here in the valley, but we try to do what we can to to do our best to respond to community complaints. We don't have enough time to practically go to different parks and try to do active patrols looking for stuff. We have a backlog of complaints that we have to follow up on, and it's one of those things where we've kind of debated this with some of our fellow officers, and I get it. And in fact, I want to say the last arrest we had on Sunday, actually had to deploy my taser because my one of our security officers that was with us was this individual, the suspect committed ADW, assault with a deadly weapon on him, just picked up a rod, and when we ended up, we got into a use of force, we were rolling around the ground. When we finally got him secured in handcuffs, we Mirandized him, and we kind of asked him, like, what was that about? We've dealt with this guy before. He was the guy that created a huge, Patty, I'm sure she knows, this is the huge encampment of Sepulveda Basin wildlife area. It was a huge wooden structure that finally got taken down. This was the occupant. He moved on the southeast corner of Encino Balboa golf course, and when we came across him, I guess he forgot. He explained that the reason why he ran and picked up the weapon to assault my partner is because he thought we were ICE, and just because I guess we were green.
Yeah.
And we tell him, no, we're not ICE. We don't work with them. We don't report anything to him. But he didn't know that at the time, and I guess I was talking to him. He finally recognized us. But anyway, he was in court today, and hopefully that goes to trial. But I'm sorry, to answer your other question. No, this information is not public. The spreadsheet is just my own, and I share it with certain folks. And the scribble map, I am willing to share this with some folks, but like I said, I really have to update it, because if you work off it right now, it's extremely inaccurate.
Well, this is like far above and beyond, I think, anything we've ever seen, and we've been asking for this, anything close to this for years, and I'm just blown away at how detailed and how much work you guys put into this, and it just shows what a little support and funding will do. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for doing this, and just please take our extreme thanks and appreciation for this.
Yeah, and I know you are sharing it with key, with LAPD and some key folks within other departments of the city. I do want to note that these meetings are recorded and posted online, so I do have video editing software. Do you need to edit out any of the?
I just done it.
You have that as well?
Yes,
Okay, great.
I edit film all the time.
Yeah, so do you need us to remove any of this from the recording? I don't think a lot of people go and watch these meetings, but just in case.
It will be there when it's public.
But it will be there and it's public, so please let us know.
Right. I guess maybe I guess if you could just maybe edit out, like maybe blur out the spreadsheet with the names and the DOBs and the
I'll take care of that.
ID.
Yeah.
Okay. But as far as all this other stuff should be fine. But okay, that is important to know, because Sharp, I'll pass it over to my partner Ranger Sharp now.
So I'll make my spiel a little quick. So Dale Campo and I, we do a lot of arrests, but we also take the time to talk to the transients that we come across, and and to some point they kind of some of them, like my informant, they become comfortable talking to us. And I was lucky enough to talk to my informant. Again, until the crime alert goes out, I can't give a name. But he came up and talked to me, and he showed me a video of the arson suspect standing. You could see a burning log in the video, like with the fire, the logs burning on fire. Then you could see the suspect just standing there looking at the fire, and you can hear the informant say, "Hey, you can't keep doing this." And the arsonist says, "Oh, it's just a campfire." Basically what I've done was I've submitted the video as evidence to LAFD arson investigation, and they are going to keep me updated. I'm providing them with all the intel that I've gathered with Ranger Dale Campo, and the arsonist that we have identified, according to our witness, who, by the way, is willing to testify in court along and has 2 other witnesses that he knows of that he stated is also willing to testify. The arson suspect is responsible for multiple fires in the Sepulveda Basin area. So as of right now, the arson investigator is going to put together a crime alert. She's hoping to get it out by tonight, at least to all law enforcement agencies, if not by Thursday. And so this is something that I'm really I'm glad that the ball's rolling as far as, getting this arsonist out of the basin.
Yes, and that information was shared with other LAFD entities as well. And this is the individual that was pointed out. We did not expect it. This is someone who travels between Hanson Dam, Sepulveda Basin. But when the name was mentioned, we knew exactly who it was. And I recall the first time I encountered him, he was in the Sepulveda Basin wildlife area last year. And we caught him in the middle of a fire. And we ended up citing him at that time. And he denied, any involvement. And we didn't have enough to get arson involved because they want to see more than just him in the vicinity. Because he could have said, oh, he could have just been one of those guys just curious and walked over to where the fire was. But we know exactly who he is. And before Sharp heard this information from her informant, we already heard this individual's name given to us by another transient in the park that we had built a rapport with. We have at least we have 3 sources that independently pointed to him. The value in the informant that Sharp made contact with is that he actually had a video, and the video is very clear, very good quality. So there's a lot to work with, and it seems like the arson investigator that Sharp made contact with is pretty excited about the info.
She's gonna try to get the crime alert, and hopefully we can get a warrant for his arrest. So we'll see what happens.
And once we get that info, I mean, we have no problem at least sending you a picture of the individual and some other pertinent information and all. But and then again, not the first time we've caught an arson in the park. The very first one was shortly after when the Palisades fire was going on. That was January 10th. I actually think I notified you guys about that. But ever since that guy was booked, he stayed in for quite some time. Once he was released, we never saw him back in the park. So that's why we had good reason to believe it wasn't him. But yeah, there are other fires that start in the park, but I think the only one who we have a good lead on, who is actively setting him on fire as an arsonist, as opposed to someone who's cooking fire just got out of hand. We have a good reason to believe this is the individual. So, yeah. Any questions regarding that?
Do we have any questions here in the room?
Yes. I would like to know about, and Rose has been that there are dams next to One Generation, the Army Corps area near Victory and Louise. And I heard they're in sewers. I don't know if they're sewers, but the outlets that come into the river from, and that you guys actually go when it rains and warn them and try to get them out of there. We've heard there are over 150 to 200 people in there. I don't know if you, it's not easy to get to. But, we're wondering if that is included in the counts and that if you guys go there really often to, see what's going on.
I apologize, the audio is a little, what area are you referring to?
It's on Victory and, near Louise. Near the corner of White Oak, between White Oak and Balboa.
So near the dog park, maybe?
Yeah, here's the dog park.
Okay, yeah, so, if you're referring, can you guys still see my?
Trees. It's hard to tell where they are.
Are you thinking along West Bay there, or?
So the area that we have covered is basically all of Sepulveda, but I know there are encampments on the south side of the LA River bank, just behind the Sepulveda Basin Sports Complex. It's because it's not park property, we don't go down there. In fact, I want to say the first time I was down there was yesterday with Larry Frank. And we were making contact with the folks out there because of a plan of an upcoming visit by LASA and followed by a cleanup. So a lot of those folks, when we were down there, there were there was a couple of new people we hadn't documented before, but there's 4 that we did recognize, and they're the people who were living on park property on the north side of that bike path behind the Sepulveda Basin Sports Complex. Some of you may know there was a big cleanup that happened over there, and a lot of those folks just moved down here. We're actively, patrolling this area to keep these people from coming back. And like I said, we'll go, so if we've already talked to this person, we've cited them before, we'll go so far as just dedicate a whole day to just taking them in. I mean, if that's what we have to do, that's just what we do. And it seems to work for the most part. For most people, you arrest them enough times, they'll give up, they'll leave. But again, the area you might be referring to, especially if you're talk closer to Louise, White Oak, this area, if it's outside of park property, we usually do not go back there. One thing I do want to mention, there was a shooting that occurred August 28th, it was a Thursday, and it happened by the public restrooms, Sepulveda Basin Sports Complex. That individual who was shot was a known gang member, and when he got arrested, a 9mm handgun fell out of his pocket. And so because he was a victim, priority is to treat him. But LAPD told us, look, when he gets released, let us know if you find him, because we're going to arrest him for possessing that. He's a convicted felon in possessing a firearm. Our dispatch verified that, yeah, he does have a felony warrant. We saw him yesterday when we were out there walking. Obviously, we're not foolish enough to do anything about someone who we have good reason to suspect has a firearm, since we're unarmed. But there are some really, really shady individuals in that area on the south side. In fact, yesterday, one of the first guys we saw down there was carrying a machete.
Yeah, he dropped him.
Yeah, but yeah, I apologize. I hope that answers your question.
So we did see there's some drainage issues underneath the Metro Bridge, right? Along the LA River to the north, and there were I think just one person that was living there. But she wants to accept services, so that lots of will be.
I just sent out
visiting.
some pictures.
Yeah.
We're all tents.
Well, I guess do send, do share, and I just want to say that I've been blown away by Ranger Dale Campo and Sharp's knowledge of the basin is unbelievable. Their commitment is unbelievable. Their depth of understanding of the individuals in the basin is unbelievable. And I just I will add one detail, from the fire department, which is that they are aware there is a fire department that's in the basement right now, because some of the fires have had multiple ignition sites within, say, 10 feet of each other of a single.
And
Fire.
it's more than 1 year.
Yeah.
The firebug has been there for at least 2 years.
Yeah, and that would fit, you know, but so we're thrilled that Ranger Sharp has been able to make amazing headway. To figure this out as well as making their compost, so thank you.
They're great, but this area you're saying, you guys don't go down there very
Yeah,
often.
bring info for the next meeting and we'll
Yeah.
figure out where.
If you wanna email it to me, I can share it with some.
I can take more specific.
Or Pat, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that, I picked up a lot of roofers that have heard that.
Okay, do we have any questions from the attendees? Thank you very much. This is really helpful.
Yes, we're really grateful to have you guys and for all the work you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate the support. Thank you all. Have a good night.
You have to go fairly soon.
I know you have to.
Okay, we're gonna have Anna from the Army Corps, then Rosie, and then you're on. And thank you, Ranger Deer Campo and Sharp.
you.
Rosie. No, I'm sorry, I've got Anna next. If Anna has anything for us.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Not too much going on with the Corps right now. As the Rangers alluded to, we do have a cleanup scheduled for October 15th, I believe. And it will cover the section that we were just talking about, the area of concern there. We did have a walkthrough with some stakeholders back in August. For the master plan process. And we are working on a draft for that currently. And it will be out for public comment sometime next year. We're looking at April or May 2026. So you'll have an opportunity to comment on the changes that we made for the Sepulveda master plan then. I think that's it from me, and just want to reiterate again that we are working closely with the LA28 committee, and yeah, that would be all.
Do you think the channel cleanup will happen if the government is shut down, which it is?
That's a very good question. We did get funding for internal operations, but I'm not sure if that covers contract awards. So hopefully this shutdown does not take a very long time. But yeah, it is TBD at the moment.
All right, we'll stand by and stay tuned. Thank you.
Question?
I see Glenn has a question.
Yeah, Hannah, on the master plan, the April-May timeframe, the way I heard your wording, it said changes made. Is there is that final, or is that the draft, or can you go into a little more detail about that process, please? If it hasn't already been covered tonight.
Sure. So it's not a final. It would just be a draft version of the changes that we made, and then come April and May, we would have a public comment period, and you would have an opportunity to comment on those changes, and we would take those into consideration and draft those into the final draft.
All right, so we wouldn't know anything about changes until April, May. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So if not, Rosie, you're on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's better if you come up front. Then we can put you on the spot.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So just to reiterate, I'm Rosie from Councilmember Imelda Padilla's office, very heavily involved in the basin. Just to give some updates on what's currently been happening and what we can look forward to. I do have a meeting later this week with LA Sanitation to discuss, cleanup efforts in the basin, at least, whatever jurisdiction belongs to, LA Sanitation, which would mainly include, right near Hajelti Sports Complex, where the fire department is currently doing vegetation management. There are still some active encampments near the area, especially toward, Havenhurst, and then a lot more, including vehicles towards the, LA River. So, I'm going to have further conversation with, LA Sanitation to figure out the funding and jurisdictional issues, just to make sure that I'm also not taking resources away from, the residential areas in Lake Balboa that also need these comprehensive cleanups. So possibly we'll be looping in the mayor's office to just kind of discuss these efforts a little bit more, but, that's my current update on that. I'm still working on the illegal dumping that's on, Burbank and Woodley near the golf course. I mean, it's unfortunate we don't have anyone from the maintenance, division from RAP on this meeting, but that's who I've been working with to discuss those efforts. I don't have a timeline. I may need to bring in other stakeholders to maybe push that, but, right now I don't have a timeline of when that would be addressed or why it hasn't so far, but, I'm actively working on that. As for, the other illegal dumping, things that we've talked about in the past, I know that our office is looking into, again, allocating money for personnel for enforcement of illegal dumping fines, in addition to possibly adding more cameras. So, our legislative team is actually working on getting some of that information. So once we have all of that and can pile it into a motion and also look at where, we are in terms of budget, then we can look to see if we can possibly fund it for some time, or, just figure out some creative solutions that would deter these bigger construction companies from not dumping in the basin. I mean, and then the long-term goal is for ultimately the city and other council districts, right, to kind of follow suit and start these enforcement measures and be a lot more strict on it. But preliminary, that's what we're looking at, I'm also working with, different entities to, get data and statistics on water contamination levels in the LA River, the Encino Creek, the Haskell Creek, pretty much any waterway that involves the basin. Just so we can draft a motion towards water conservancy, and then I think that would also help with kind of clearing out any folks that are living within the basin, right, for water conservation purposes. So, that's something that, is also in the works, gonna require a lot of back and forth and revisions, because wording is very important when it comes to things of this nature. So just a few updates in that regard. I do want to mention just some other things that have passed and that we're, looking forward to. So, we had put in a motion for Rec and Parks and other, agencies to come together and make a Sepulveda Basin website, because it's very clear that there really is no way to navigate the Sepulveda Basin, and especially if you're an outsider visiting, there's really no clear route or anything of the sort. So this website would kind of be, I mean, hopefully what I'm envisioning is like a one-stop shop, right, to have all this information. And then that way we can also incorporate some of the ideas that, other community members and stakeholders have had, like different zones of, if there's an emergency or rescue efforts, they can look into, pointing out to, the dispatcher or to the police department of where they're located, right? So, so this website is currently underway. It's coming soon. I think it'll definitely help a lot with navigating the Olympics as well. So that's, one positive thing. Another thing that I just want to mention for everyone too is the park needs assessment. So this applies for all of the parks, but I mean, for our specifically Sepulveda Basin, but any input, any community ideas, anything you're against, please go on and, use your voice and amplify them, right? I think this is the best way for community to come forward and just talk a little bit more about what they want to see and what they don't want to see. So definitely encourage everyone to do that and spread the word for that as well. Last but not least, I'm actually hosting a cleanup near Bull Creek with the Audubon Society, the Wildlife Steering Committee and Fuller Friends of the LA River this Saturday. So I will send out a flyer with further information for everyone, but we are gonna have Metro, I believe LA 28, but I'm not sure if they're confirmed or not. I know Metro is definitely confirmed. Fuller is confirmed, but there's gonna be a kind of like a mini resource fair, so for community members to come in and just learn a little bit more about what's proposed for the Victory Balboa Metro parking lot. So Metro will be there to talk just a little bit more about that if folks have any questions. Same with LA 28, so it'll be a cleanup slash learn a little bit more of what's happening in the basin. So definitely encourage everyone, if you're available, please come volunteer. Oh, perfect, thank you. So those are all of my updates. I am looking forward to further projects. I think once a lot of the vegetation is cleared by LAFD. I know the medians are already cleared, but maybe then we can try and focus on kind of beautifying those areas and fulfilling or replanting some native species and just making it a much nicer area in general. But yeah, that's so I got there, so.
One quick comment. You know, MRCA obviously does the testing on the river.
Yeah.
Today was the last day for kayak trips, and I was gonna be on it. But it was canceled because of the quality of the water. You might want to check your.
Yeah, that's gonna help the motion though, right? Because these are all details that we can use, because had the water contamination not been there, then kayaking maybe could have actually been for a longer period.
Bear with me while I look for an email here for 1 second. Let me see, it was forwarded to.
Can I ask Rosie a question?
Of course.
Rosie, I was wondering, who is leading on the website piece, and is there a way to coordinate with them? If there's a couple key resources you want to make sure included, et cetera.
So there's actually committee meetings that happen that like council members that are on that committee kind of discuss in further detail. So I go back and I listen in on them, and then like I write a summary report on it. But I think the most recent one was this morning, so I'm gonna listen to that tomorrow. And then I'll have further insight on where it's currently at in committee and what the next steps are, so then I can guide you to.
Would you be a good liaison if we just want to
Yeah.
send?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just to make sure that some of the key staff with the wildlife is.
No, absolutely. I mean, the whole point is for the basin to include everything, right? So we want.
Jarvis Garden and like.
Yeah, the sports complex, the Audubon Society, so one-stop shop for everyone to know what's happening in the basin, but feel free to reach out to me and then I can guide you. Yeah.
Great project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
It's
very.
so needed, you're talking.
We're very excited about it, and, for announcing closures and all sorts of things. I just wanted to note, I guess the Los Angeles Water Board is updating their permit regarding the LA River watershed. So I can attach this letter to the minutes tomorrow, so you'll be aware of it. It looks like they're going to be doing work on it in the next. They're expecting a public comment early October, which it almost is. So I will attach that draft to the minutes tomorrow.
Okay.
When I send those out.
Thank you.
Okay. And let me see if I've got any, Glenn has a question?
Yes, Rosie, thanks. What's the name of the committee that meets? Is that a council committee?
It's the arts, like parks, arts, something. I'm sorry, I don't have the full name.
I know what you're talking, yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah, okay. Thank you. We can find it, thanks.
Okay, is there anything you got on the agenda?
I haven't heard back, so I have to check with Captain Joyce again to see if they have a timeline of when that camera is supposed to be up, but the last I heard was that. Really? And that it's working? Okay,
That's all.
yeah. I have to follow up and see what they tell me. Last I heard, they told me that they will be doing a separate project from DOT and installing their own pull for the camera, so. I mean, if that happened, and it's in fact even better, but,
Yep, if you don't, if you, let me know,
okay,
and because I'll let the committee know on that, and, yeah, and also keep us surprised on the, website.
okay.
Because that's something we're all very excited about. I have been bugging all the Audubon people to get their park needs comments in. I think that they need to be in by around the middle of the month. So I'll give people another poke on that.
Okay.
And, we have, we do have some issues over, at the wild, our no fishing signs have disappeared at the boat ramp. And there's people that are fishing all the time now. We've had at least 2 birds severely injured from fishing tackle so far, which means that you've got to get someone out there to try to catch them.
Yeah, I've handled one of those rescues and it's no joke. I had to get someone with a boat from Lake Balboa and there was a bird hanging from fishing line on the island and I drove it all the way to International Bird Rescue in San Pedro and it died on the way. So it really is a big issue to have a fishing line in the water.
It is, and it's everywhere, and, yeah, it's crazy. People do not need to be fishing in there, and with the signage not there, they can't enforce it.
Where was the signage? Was it
It
around the
was,
lake?
but you know where the boat ramp is?
Yes.
There used to be 2 no fishing signs there. There are 0 no fishing signs.
Okay, let me,
Even when we're out there working, I mean, we see like families walking with fishing poles, so even if there's just like an enforcement of somebody, like when a ranger starts to just
Okay.
walk through and be like, hey, don't do that.
okay.
Might be a deterrent.
I mean, regardless though, the signs need to be
Yeah.
reinstalled. Okay, I'll definitely flag that and work on that. And then once I get more information on the website, happy to share.
Great.
Hopefully I'll get an update by tomorrow and I can present it at the neighborhood council tomorrow, but if not, as soon as I get off
And
of that.
if you could just ask the committee, I mean, we are an official city advisory committee, so if we could have an opportunity to review the website and give some suggestions, and would that be great?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, because you might as well use this for what we're supposed to be
Yeah.
used for.
Okay, no, let me see where it's currently at, what it
Okay.
needs, and then again, it was our motion, so obviously we did it with all this in mind to
Thank
make sure
you.
that the Audubon Society is included.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question about.
Thank you.
For reading the bottom of the.
I can answer that offline, but
Well, we had asked Hannah about the vector control and she was going to come back like this meeting and let us know.
Oh, she said October 15th, though, I will be back.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're supposed to do the thing on October 15th.
So that's just contingent on the
But-
government shutdown in Jersey Heights.
Okay. Okay, at last. Here we go.
Thank you, Pat. Good evening.
Sorry, really fast. I think because you were checking with you, it's not screen sharing and, yeah, but that one.
Oh. Okay. Hold on a sec here. I didn't notice that. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, we'll have your slide back in 1 sec. There we go.
All right, it's on, thanks.
Thanks, Pat. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Michelle Vergara under the mayor's community engagement team. And today I am here to talk about a new initiative, oversized vehicle impound lot. So I think there's been a lot of conversation here with folks from LE 28, CD6. And I think there's a lot of synergy as we're preparing for the games, as we're trying to address the multiple and very, very complex needs of the Sepulveda Basin. This here is also another effort to try and help and address some of the RVs that are within our city and trying to help us build capacity. As you all may already know, there is not enough capacity in the city
to be able to conduct, RV operations because we don't have a place to necessarily house them. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about what this is because it is going to impact the Lake Balboa area and it is adjacent to the basin. Actually, the metro lot that is right at the corner of Victory Boulevard and Balboa will be utilized for this effort. So next slide, please. Here we go, thank you. So some key highlights about what this lot will be, it will be a place where folks, where the city, whenever they do operations, we will be able to bring these, relinquished RVs at this lot, and they will wait there for a period of time until they can go get fully demolished. So as you all know, from the very first day that the mayor came into office, she declared a state of emergency on homelessness. So this is another effort to help on tackling that issue and helping to address the RV encampments, which we know have been very, very challenging. At this lot, we will have 24/7 security. We will have an installation of cameras that will be on the lot, but we will also have live security that will be monitoring the lot 24/7. No residential occupancy, so I can't stress that enough. I know there has been some misinformation in the community, misunderstanding about, oh, they're just gonna bring RVs, people are gonna come live here, it's gonna be a trailer park. That is absolutely not correct. So it is no residential occupancy, which means, these vehicles will be empty. They are basically in their final process of, once they get relinquished, we wait until they can finally get taken away to get fully dismantled. So this is just like a temporary holding, space until they can get removed from the community. Street cleanup goals. So this initiative also really focuses on clearing our streets from RVs and encampments, which we know have been very, very problematic and challenging for many of the communities across the city. With this, we also hope to restore the public right of way, right? So whenever there are encampments, there's operations, we bring folks inside, as you all know, through the mayor's Inside Safe operations, we have been able to do operations that entail RVs, where we successfully bring folks inside and are able to remove the RVs from the street, therefore restoring the street to our communities. Next slide, please. Oh, I have it in both English and Spanish, or if anyone needs it in Spanish, just let me know. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, this is basically an initiative to help scale up efforts citywide to be able to expand capacity. We are also hoping to, like I said, clear more encampments across the city, and just improve overall public safety and the quality of life for all Angelinos. Next slide, please. So a little bit about the lot. So as I mentioned before, the lot is the Metro G line lot that is located at the corner of Balboa and Victory Boulevard, and you have the address there. So it is about 94,800 square feet, and it has a capacity to store up to 125 RVs. So it has that much capacity. So the lot is strategically located within Council District 6. They as well have partnered with our office, as have Metro, to be able to bring this effort to life. So with this being said, the 125 capacity that the lot has, 50% will be able to be allocated for CD6 whenever they are doing operations within their district, including the basin potentially, can help address some of those RVs within the vicinity. To share, I want to step back a little bit and share some background that our office has a similar project in Council District 9. So this is not the only project. That is a smaller lot. And on average, RVs that get sent there, they're there for about maybe 15 days or so. And then they get removed and get completely dismantled. So they're circling through, as they come in, they remove them, dismantled, so on and so forth. And they haven't yet hit their full capacity. So I don't know that, you know, we will ever see this lot at the 125 capacity, but it does have that, you know, enough room to be able to have, to house 125 oversized vehicles. Next slide, please. So this is an aerial shot of the actual, parking lot, right along the orange tree line there. As you can see, there are not that many vehicles. So what I will say is that this is a temporary initiative. It will only be happening for the next 2 years. And it will open up right in time for the Olympics. So I know that Metro has also been conducting outreach along with us, Council District 6, to share this. And I also do want to clarify that the actual station will remain open. So that is still remaining open, but the parking lot will be entirely closed. So folks will have to park in like nearby lots, you know, that Metro has along the G line. And I know another question that has come up in other meetings has been like, why this lot and why not the one on Oxford and Sepulveda, right? They're like, that's more tucked away, nobody sees it, like why here? There's actually active construction going on there, so that is why that was not a viable option. Next slide, please. Oops, sorry. So this is a sample, a photo of the fencing that will go around the lot. So it is not necessarily going to be visible to the public. I know that with the council office, there have been conversations about how maybe we can beautify the fencing, whether it's through like student art or, you know, trying to get creative through other means. But this is, again, an example of the fencing that will go around the perimeter of the lot while the lot is being utilized for this purpose. Next slide, please. And like I said, so this lot aims to improve overall public safety for our communities by addressing RV encampments, increasing the overall storage capacity for the city, having cleaner streets, providing supportive services to those folks that, you know, need it, bringing them inside so that they no longer have to live in RVs. Yeah. Next slide, please. And then the community benefits. So the lot will help clear RVs from the streets, which means that there will be public spaces that will be restored for our communities. The removal of these RVs aligns with the city's broader goal of revitalizing local neighborhoods, especially as we get ready to prepare for the Olympics, the Games, the World Cup, and everything else that is coming, you know, to LA. And provide a designated storage space. The mayor's office is reducing the strain on public streets and restoring them for the community to be able to use. And engaging the community. So our office has been actively engaging folks, more like the small businesses that are within that radius, all the schools, because we know there are multiple schools that are adjacent to the lot. Other key stakeholders, residents, neighborhood councils, other groups, including yourself, to basically just continue sharing updates as to what this project is, what the goal of it is, how it will impact you, and then also accept any feedback, ideas, thoughts that you may have, because we definitely welcome that and want to hear anything that you may have to say on this initiative. Next one. So this brings me to this point, as I said, engaging you all. So if you grab your phone, you can scan this QR code and it will take you to a feedback form. What that feedback form is a way for you to provide us your feedback. The form is available in English and in Spanish. If there are other languages that are needed, please do let me know. Happy to, you know, try to work through that. But again, we are engaging the community, you know, wanting to be transparent with all of you, and definitely encourage all of you to participate and provide any feedback that you may have. And please also be rest assured that this is not a one and done. This is not our first presentation. It's not our last presentation. We have scheduled presentations happening throughout the month. And we will continue ongoing conversation and providing updates as more updates become available regarding this lot.
And I've got a couple hands raised.
Yeah, I got a question too.
Okay.
You can take them first.
Oh, let me see, I've got, it looks like, Barbara's hand is raised in the attendees.
Yeah, I wanted to comment, you maybe want to take a few more surveys of the use of that parking lot. On typical weekdays during working hours, that entire lot is full.
Okay. Thank you, and I know that that was also something that was assessed on the metro side, but I'm happy to definitely take that back. And flag for them as well, so thank you.
Okay, Glenn?
Yes, thanks for the presentation. Yes, I occasionally do use that lot. And I've noticed over the years, I've had to walk further because I don't get there first thing in the morning. And so I have to walk further and further, which I don't mind. But yeah, there's a lot of vehicles parked there weekday. I don't know when that photo was taken. Maybe it was on I don't know, a Sunday, or I don't know, but it definitely wasn't taken Monday through Friday during the daytime, based on what I've seen in the lot. So that's number one. Number two, when this project, the Orange Line, was put in, some of us participated in the environmental review process, and the part of the approval of the project included where the lots are that folks can, use for park and ride. So to take away 100% of the lot, which is the first time hearing that that's the case, I think you're doing it because it's free land. I mean, I know we do have an RV problem, but frankly, you're making more people homeless. What you really need to do is find spaces where the RVs can be placed, where the people can live in the RVs, rather than taking away their RVs. And I realize it's easier said than done, but it always seems over the years, the decades, that people come to the Sepulveda Basin area because it's free public land. And I'll go back to the Hollywood Park racetrack, who proposed moving from Inglewood to the basin because it was, quote, free land. It just because it's public land doesn't mean you could take it for some other use than what it was intended. And this lot was intended to support the Orange Line, which is an important transportation facility for the entire valley, now from Chatsworth all the way to North Hollywood. And as someone who uses that lot on occasion, I want that to be available. If you're saying Sepulveda is closed, Van Nuys is closed, that means it's Reseda. And is that going to be big enough? Part of Reseda is taken for the tiny homes. Part of some of the parking spaces have been taken away because of the tiny homes there. So I don't know. I think you need to go back to the drawing board. If you have to lease or rent some land for 2 years of maybe a industrial area that's been closed, or something, then, look at those alternatives. Do not take away the public's park and ride. We're trying to get people out of their cars, and one way to do that is have convenient locations throughout the entire Orange Line, the entire run of the Orange Line, convenient for folks so that they can do that. So I just think this is it's the wrong solution for an important problem. Thank
And it's not, and I say it's not free. We're paying $360,000 for the lease. And that is not going to Metro, it's going to the Mayfair Hotel. That there is also state legislation that made DOT lots $1 a month. So I don't know why we're not using that. To send people to Reseda, where Teresa's deed that has been there for 50 years got out of their lease because of the crime. So you're setting up a lot that is dealing with crime. The strip mall has dealt with people coming in and grabbing everything they can. And they lock the door when the sister's there alone. See, you're taking this away. You're sending people out of their way during rush hours to a lot that has the tiny homes that people are doing drugs on the streets. That Teresa's 50-year business has just moved out of it. because of the time. And then the Sepulveda Basin, come on, guys, I've watched this group for decades. The work that has been done for the jewel of the San Fernando Valley, and we're having our park and ride. You know, well, so it's going to be available for the Olympics, and then they're gonna put affordable housing in. This, somebody should fight for that stuff. This isn't right to take that. There have to be other spots, I'm sorry.
Thank you for that. I definitely, again, appreciate all feedback that, you know, has been shared during this meeting. This is something that I will definitely take back to our team. You guys, like I said, encourage you to please continue the feedback, but I do want to emphasize also that this is a partnership between the mayor's office, the council office, and Metro collectively. So we're all working together to be able to do this. And we understand this is not a one size fits all, that it's gonna be,
That is how this city works.
One comment at a time.
Yeah, and I think also, I just wanna point out, she did share a survey, so I think the most effective way for you to share this feedback is to take that link, get your phone, take the link and submit some written comments, and then it does sound like they will be taken seriously. And you know, if they're working with the council office is working with the community, and that's kind of the point of structure.
So out of curiosity, is this presentation available either through CD6, the mayor's office, or the other folks? Like is this a publicly shareable?
It'll be in the video.
I know, but I mean like a direct.
No, we have, when we go to community meetings, we do share the presentation wherever we are presenting, so it is made accessible. Pat has it, so she can share it out to the group, and we have, done joint presentations with the council office and with Metro. We actually just had one yesterday. It was a virtual forum that happened, and like I said, this is not like a one and done. We've done multiple up until now, and we will continue engagement and providing updates as they come about. But again, I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that, I don't know if you didn't hear, that you heard it from us directly, and if there were any questions, concerns, feedback, that we're here, you know, standing, listening to you all, for whatever that feedback may be, right?
No, I appreciate that. I've actually organized community with CD6 for the RVs that were parking on the street. So it's almost like reverse judgment now that we're gonna have them parked in the neighborhood as they destroy them. My concern is by turning it, and I'm using this term really loosely, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but turning that parking lot into a junkyard. Are there any environmental issues, any impact reports on things that may leak, run out of it, or end up in the LA River? So as those, you know, huge hulking things from human bio-waste to oil and gas, like, are there gonna be mitigations there so that stuff doesn't just run down into the storm drains, given that it's a wrecking yard now?
Absolutely. So also to clarify, yes, before the RVs get taken to the actual lot, there will be some process that they will get sanitized, and the tanks, whatever tanks that they have, will be completely removed, so that any biohazard material will not be coming onto the lot. And then, you know, ensuring that there's no spillage anywhere, because we understand the basin is fairly close to this lot, and we definitely, you know, don't want it to be impacted. And then to your other point, what was the second part of?
Just making sure nothing runs off. I mean, that's the biggest one, but you know, again, I mean, I'll say just as a resident of this area, this does not sound like something I want in the neighborhood. Like, this sounds like something you put out in a lease space in the desert, not in the middle of a city with schools and people and parks and stuff like that. Like, that just seems. I know a lot of folks that aren't gonna be happy about this. That's why I ask if this lives online somewhere that would be publicly shareable, not just presentation, but like through CD6, like, is there like, here's a link to this great thing that we're gonna do, or is this sort of like a work going on thing?
No, I mean, like I said, we have gone out and done presentations where they have joined us.
Right.
Like the one we did, we're doing one later this week with Metro. So it, you know, depending on availability, but this is a joint effort. And again, the presentation is made available to you all. I don't know that it is up on the mayor's website, but you know, again, it is readily available, and as more updates, develop, I'm happy to come back, do another presentation, share more information, engage you all, and just continue that ongoing, conversation about what this lot, is in the project.
Just so I have a better feel for the feedback, looking for, what is an example of feedback you've heard at these meetings that you've implemented?
So far, again, we're just, taking this feedback. The lot is not open yet. I think right now what they're looking at is potentially maybe like mid-December for it to be like operating under the RV lot. That's kind of like the timeline. But I think we're still in that stage where you guys are, whatever feedback that you have, I think is very valuable. So please, I would encourage you all to.
So what have you, like, what changes have been made based on feedback you've gotten? Just curious.
So I know that goes through like our team, and, they figure out strategies in terms of how to best, whether it's like positioning the entrance so it doesn't necessarily impact traffic, or, the fencing. I know that was something that came up. They're like, we don't want it to be an eyesore in our community, right? So, implementing some of those things to help mitigate, a lot of the concerns that folks have brought around.
Given the timing and that question, so I mean, that puts it at roughly 2 months for it to open. So anything that will be done in the next 2 months with the lot closing. Is there a date set for the lot to close?
As of right now, no, that's kind of just like an estimate right now. But again, as soon as I know more information and we have like an exact date of like, hey, there will be plenty of notice. So please, be rest assured, again, we are working with Metro. Metro will also be doing their own notices, for the riders and the community at large. When that day comes, you will all have, plenty of notice.
I was on the presentation yesterday.
Yes.
And we could just list questions and they were handled. And we didn't communicate. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I also would like to know, other than getting the fluids out, what else is on these RVs? Are the engines still there? If this thing goes up, it's a bonfire behind you. Even if you take all the gas and oil, and it's a good target for arsons.
And I believe he made this point earlier as well, and I do want to share again in reference on 11 lot, which is what we have over in CD9. The time frame, at least for right now, and I know that this is an ongoing conversation with the council office as well to try and minimize the time from when the RV gets to the lot for it to be disposed to hopefully be shorter than the 15 days, right? Or at about. So that is something that is ongoing, but I know for the other lot, RVs are being circulated through up to 15 days, if not sooner. So it just depends.
Do you know exactly what is being safeguarded against?
I don't know necessarily, but happy to look into that for
Yeah,
you.
given the intensity of fire activity for racing, that might be something to look at, because even if they are being circulated through at a quick rate, if the lot is full.
If they're not on
that is-
fire, it's a big deal.
That is a concern as a fire hazard, so it sounds like you're already working with a lot of different stakeholders, but perhaps adding LAFD to that mix and just getting some of their input in terms of how materials and things should be stored in this context, knowing that we have fires every day and that we have an active arsonist that they're trying to catch.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's, again, where all your voices, your opinions, your feedback comes into play and is very, very valuable. And these conversations, right, that we're able to continue, keep going. I know that, again, we're doing this with transparency. We're here. We welcome all feedback. And like I said, we will take this back. And this is not the last time you'll hear from me or about the RV lot. But definitely happy to come back and provide you more updates or, share anything that has developed, post me being here. And in the presentation, there was an email from my colleague Betsy Aguilera, who oversees the council District 6 area, for, our office under Mayor Bass. So please feel free to reach out to her as well. She is the area that covers this area directly and will be your best point of contact and liaison, but I am also available, so please, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, her info will be in the minutes.
And I just want to introduce myself. I'm Carter Roskin. I work with Office Maker events, Mayor Mass. Sorry, I was on the Zoom call driving in, but the dog didn't really took it on at me getting involved in here. But just wanted to introduce myself since I'm here, and I'll be working with the LA28 and the council office and the stakeholders as we get closer to the games. My focus is going to be more on development services and permitting, but the Valley is my home, so the Sepulveda Basin has a special place in my heart, so I'll be working closely on the basin project too.
Great. Really good. Thank you. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and please do keep us posted if there are other, dedicated community events that people can tune into. And I just want to acknowledge that it was, our scheduling and put you at the end here, so you're not trying to do comments or anything.
And by the way, we're virtually out of time, but let me take Glenn's question, and then we're gonna try and just mention everything else here. So Glenn?
Thank you. I heard the comment about transparency. So this group, so transparency means you notify folks. We do that via our agenda that goes out to many, many people. This group is a Brown Acted meeting. And so if, transparency means you put it on the agenda, you put in backup information, documentation, links, etc. So I think this has been the opposite of transparency, although I do appreciate your coming and making the presentation, but only those people who are in attendance saw it. Secondly, if you could please check on the zoning for this parcel. Last I heard, it's a PF zoning, which is public facility, which I don't believe allows this type of a use under the city's zoning code. But if you could look into that, because I know there have been changes, in the zoning regulations, and that would be in addition to my request to looking at the Orange Line EIR restrictions. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for that. And all that was actually looked at prior to this, project, being worked on. But, I believe it was also on the agenda, was it not, that we were gonna be speaking?
No, it wasn't. I'm sorry.
So we can make sure to do that.
Okay.
So what's the zoning then? What is the zoning?
I am not a developer, so I'm not going to misrepresent or missay that, but just do know that those considerations were looked at prior to the project coming on to, with City 6 and Metro and the mayor's office.
Okay.
Pat, please feel free to share the presentation. I'm happy to come back again.
Okay.
Share Betsy's contact, which is also included in the.
It'll be in the minutes tomorrow.
Yes, and just so everyone knows, I'm also a Valley native, so all work related to the Valley is near and dear to my heart. I celebrated all my birthday parties here at Woodley Park, so this is a very, very special place for me. And, I'm just happy that I get to work with all of you on this effort. And like I said, definitely encourage you to continue the conversation going with our mayor's office. And, we'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Muriel has her hand up.
Hi, Muriel. Yes.
Hi, I wanted to comment do we have a representative from the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council at the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I definitely hope that person takes this back to the neighborhood council. I very frankly think the spillover into the neighborhood of people parking their cars and so forth is going to be very disruptive. I also am appalled that you are doing the opposite of making it easier to take public transportation. I think this is a very backwards kind of project.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Miriam, you wanted to talk about something, but we're virtually on.
I will just very quickly, I had, the bike path that was supposed to be paid for already. I have breakdowns that I'd like to give everyone, and I consider writing a letter for our next meeting. That, asks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
And then Glenn is on, we need to find out. How much they really have now, they say that they have, $49,000 million. They put out the bid at 50 million. But they have $17 million.
Okay, well, maybe we can have the
I
numbers.
wanted to give you guys this, and then, and then on the back, they have 2 bids and they break it down. And so, this can be considered by everyone. And I would like to see them do what they can do with the money they have before they lose it, and when, we don't know when and if that will sunset out. But of course, my position is just connect to the 2 existing. To the 2 existing bike paths. Take out at least 25 million of that. And there could be adjustments from Van Alden to White Oak that can make this actually happen in a reasonable amount of time. But if they wait for more money, it's gonna get more expensive. Okay. 60 million.
So we can get that, put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a very quick announcement. We have a, right of entry, permit, being looked at for, a 35-acre goat racing project. Being looked at. So we're hopeful that it will go through. Audubon is offered to fund $15,000, which is what they budgeted. And this would be by the model airplane park. And I think probably for next meeting, we may take a look at the wildfire resilient habitat plan, which would involve flooding. I would definitely like to start taking a look at Encino Creek as it's getting light for the first time probably in 20 years. And it's opening up, and that would be an interesting wildlife area project. Do any of the groups have announcements right now?
I think it can wait, with the wildfire plan, Dan had met previously with LA San, DWP and the BOE, and we're gonna try and get a meeting, going to follow up on that, so hopefully there could be an update by the time we meet next with this group, so stay tuned on that, and, Pat and I both attended a meeting of the sort of mayor's fire resilience focused group on Sepulveda Basin, which I found very encouraging. So Pat, thank you for everything you've been organizing that community meeting that I think has really brought a lot of the agencies together. And really, there's a lot of better coordination than I've ever seen in many years, so that's very.
Well, I think we're making progress, and I really do want to make sure that we don't get closed out again, which happens over and over.
I think we're headed the right direction.
Well, yeah, but that. We start going in the right direction, and then all of a sudden you've got a group not engaging with us. Doing stuff which is cross purposes, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So.
No other updates for RCD?
Yeah.
Yeah, none from C.
Okay, the meeting is dully adjourned. Thank you, Muriel. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Glenn. We're gonna sign off in Hartford. We're signing off for the night.
Oh, with the working group that advised us.
Muriel, are you, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what time would people be over at the park tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow, the staff will be arriving at 9 and the school at, by 10, probably.
Okay, I'm going to borrow the grabbers.
Oh, okay, sure. Would you please tell them that I said it was okay in case anybody hassles you? But you should get there, around 9 o'clock would be the best time.
Okay.
Pat, and no need to return them in any near term. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mark them with some gaffer's tape, so we know, but yeah, I'm gonna use them for our cleanup at Gold Creek on Saturday.
That's absolutely terrific. And I'll be around, you can reach me by phone tomorrow morning if anybody questions you.
Okay, good night. We've got to get out of here.